Porky's Corner is proud to be sponsored by Spartan Site Solutions. They are specialists in civil engineering and demolition contracts for the construction industry. Interested parties should visit their website or contact Porky's Corner for a referral at porkycorner@mail.com.
When you get to 30, sprint back.
Have a split position.
I'm Peter Fury, and don't forget to subscribe to Porky's Corner, because I've been a helmet of the month and you need to listen to me. Yeah? So follow him, yeah? And get the fella some followers up, for Christ's sake. He wears his heart on his sleeve, he's a good man, Russ. So follow Porky's Corner, he says it as it is, and you know, I appreciate the helmet of the month, Russ. No problem.
No problem, thank you very much.
You're welcome, mate.
Kings of their manor, my two dogs. Kings of their manor. Look at them, like little kings. Hello all you hardcore boxing fans out there, how you doing? It's Russ here from Porky's Corner, the biggest gob in sport. We say the things on here that nobody dare say. We're just waiting for Adam from Ireland to join. He lives in San Francisco now. For those of you that twagged geography at school, I believe that's over the pond, isn't it? It might be. It might even be over the pond on the other side of the country. So we're waiting for him to log on now. That's about it. Massive news coming for Natasha Jonas in next 7 days, but we're joined by Adam. He's clicked on. How you doing, Adam?
Hello, sir. Thanks for the patience. Few
No
technical
problem,
difficulties, but we're rocking and rolling. How are you, bud?
I'm all right. How are you, mate?
Flying. Bit of rain out here still, but yeah. Other than that, mate, all good on my end. All good.
Brilliant. Let's get stuck straight in then. What did you think to Jonas Mayer fight at the weekend?
What did I think? First things first, brilliant contest. I think there's nobody with two eyes and two ears that could dispute that. I thought the whole controversy or whatever people are saying, I think it's a wee bit overblown, if I'm being honest. Great fight. but I had Jonas winning by a point, and I'm happy to kind of run through. I rewatched half the fight as well. But yeah, great fight. I had Jonas winning by the odd point. Now, if it was 96-95 the other way, you get zero complaints from me. But I don't see, there's a lot of comments on TalkSport and just everything following, and people are saying 8-2 Meyer and 7-3 at best. I didn't really see that fight. But what about you? What do you think?
I had it, Jonas by a point, but I wouldn't have argued if it were other way by a point or a draw. It was that tight, wasn't it?
Very tight, mate. Very tight. I mean, if you'll indulge me here for less than a minute, I'm not going to go through the whole thing.
Yeah, go on. You can speak as long as you want, Adam. Go on, mate.
Cheers, mate. Kind of breaking it down round for round. Now, you and I kind of talked after. We're saying there's a bunch of rounds that were razor squeaky close.
Yeah.
I only scored 3 rounds clearly, if I'm honest with you. I had Jonas winning the first. Like Mayer only landed 7 punches in the first round, and then I had Mayer winning 9 and 10. I thought she was great down the stretch, but between 2 and 8, again, a lot of them you could nearly flip a coin. The only changes I made to the scoring after rewatching, I originally scored round 5 to Mayer, or excuse me, to Jonas. I went back, I gave that round a 10-10 after watching it again. And then in real time, I gave the 8th to Mayer, and I watched it back. And I actually think Jonas won that round. Mayer's a bigger, she looked like the bigger woman in there, and she was kind of, she was throwing her weight about, and again, she fought a great fight. But Jonas landed 20 punches out of 40 in round 8 for a 50% completion rate. Mayer only landed 15. I say only. I think she threw 124 more punches than Jonas, which is obviously a great number, but she only landed 18 more, so this talk of she came over and kind of smashed Jonas about the place, I don't see it personally, but I would love to see them do it again.
Yeah, I would, but I think that they've got their heart set on Casey Taylor at Croke Park, haven't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
the last dance they're calling it.
For sure. And look, you could put Katie Taylor in against a broomstick and it would sell out Croker or do a decent job of it. I think that'd be a brilliant event for both ladies. I mean, I'm a United fan through and through, so there should be, there's no bias on my part for Jonas, but you can't undermine what she's achieved in her career. And as well through adversity, she hasn't had it all her own way. If you go back to the Harper fight, and obviously Taylor in the amateurs and then the pros, again, close fights. But yeah, I would like to see both ladies kind of get their last dance. But Mayer will be back, when in a different universe, she could have a win over Bumgarner, a win over Jonas, and be, top 1, 2, top 5 pound for pound. But on both nights, it just wasn't her night, unfortunately.
Yeah. Do you think that Mayer can count herself a bit unlucky, with Bumgarner and now this one? But she's got a dust to send down. What do you think?
Yeah, I think if I were her, I'd feel more aggrieved at this one. If you go back and watch the Bumgarner fight, she didn't really get going properly until, round 4 or halfway through the 3rd round. You can put that down to coaching and tactics, but ultimately, she's the woman in the ring. So, that's on her giving away those rounds. This, again, I didn't think she had the best first round, but I thought she fought a lot better. Obviously, look, she should feel herself hard done by. It was a very, very good fight. I just think she threw an awful lot more, but a lot of it didn't land. When you watch it back. Again, she was taking the lead. She was asserting herself, but there were close rounds where Jonas was just sneaking a nice ending. Somebody said to me one time it was like the most important stretch in the fight is like the final 20-30 seconds. And I know it's a wee bit different for the women fights because they're 2-minute rounds, but there are a couple of those close rounds where Jonas just kind of showed her cuteness. Where I think in the 6th she landed like a lovely left hook to finish it. This stuff sticks to the judges, especially when you're hearing that hometown roar as the
Yeah.
final bell goes, you know?
Do you think, Adam, that in the main moments of the fight, you know, near the end of each round, Jonas liked to have the last say? Because
Yes.
I do. I don't know what you thought about that. So.
Russ, that's exactly it, mate, and that's why I had her winning the fight. Like these swing rounds, they're super, super, super close. But again, end of the sixth, she finished with end of the seventh, she finishes with a lovely left hook. End of the sixth, she had a wee flurry as well. And again, I think that's kind of pedigree and experience where she's like, okay,
yeah, I'm just coming to that, pal. Yeah.
exactly. These are rocky rounds, so the visuals aren't looking great, but I'm going to withhold my energy and sneak in a wee 3-punch combo to finish the round. I thought she was very clever. And you know, 9 and 10, you could see her age. I mean, Mayer, to be fair, came on very, very, very strong. I thought she looked a wee bit puffy the week of, you know, just coming up. So, you know, 2 weight divisions. But,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mayer.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did look a bit puffy a week before the fight in that promo. She did an interview with Spencer Oliver. And I thought she looked quite heavyish, didn't she? And soft.
That lie detector test, she was even around the arms. And look, I'm not trying to be a pig commenting on. I'm talking about from a boxing perspective. You know, she didn't look. I didn't think she'd look that healthy up the weights, but she proved me completely wrong. I was dead wrong. She finished the fight unbelievably well.
Yeah, what do you think to the like controversy and the interview after interview? It's like an inquest, and in my opinion, right, I just think that there's not letting the last celebrate the win. It's all like about controversy and clickbait. I don't know. Do you think there's a bit of an agenda going at them?
I think so. I mean, like I say, you know, this isn't even on the same level of Taylor Catterall, in my opinion. You know, these rounds were close, like super, super close. Look, again, if the fight was in the US, do I think Mayer might have got the 96-95 nod? Sure. But it wasn't in the US. It was in Liverpool. Like at this point, like let Jonas celebrate, you know what I mean? Like again, there was no big robbery. I think a lot of the time too, mate, I think people are looking for headlines. Like TalkSport had on Joe G this morning, and Jordan, you know, was trying to nail him to the post on certain things.
He didn't know, did he?
Okay, look, listen, he's like a blind man. I don't even know. He's as disappointing. He might be the most disappointing figure, you know, non-boxing figure within boxing ever. You know, I used to be a big fan. You know, he painted himself as this new Cape Crusader, whatever the hell he said. And now you could argue he's probably the biggest part of the problem, because Hills and the boys have infiltrated him, and now he's playing for the other team. And that's not a good look. You know what I mean? It's not a good look for the man in the street. It doesn't rub up well against, you know, the man in the street either. So another catastrophic misstep from Mr. Jordan. He never really hits the mark, does he, when he's put to the pressure?
They were like nodding dogs, him and Jim White, after Joe G spat him out, wasn't he?
Yeah, big time. I mean, the only thing I'd pull Joe G on, and again, it's because I was watching the broadcast, he said that Tim Bradley had Jonas winning. He absolutely did not. He threw a big hissy fit after, you know, saying that Mayer, you know, obviously won the fight.
During the fight, he was bigging her up though, wasn't he, in that?
He was. And like, look, I'm being pedantic. I'm saying if there was one comment you could pull Joe G on, that was it. But otherwise, he's very kind of level-headed and similar to what we're saying. But again, I've heard robbery and I've heard Mayer comprehensively won. I think that's crap, to be honest, mate.
The 7-3 scorecard is the one that sort of like gave it the fuel. If you, do you think, Adam?
Big time. But you know, you see this all the time. You know, you have 3 judges. I mean, I think maybe the purest form in modern boxing of dodgy scorecards. Do you remember Golovkin Canelo won? Your one Adelaide Bird had Canelo winning 11 rounds to 2. And then the next fella had Golovkin winning by 3 rounds, which is kind of what I had. I don't know, mate. Sometimes it seems like these people are in different rooms, you know? It really does.
Yeah. Where does Mayer go from here, Adam?
Fine question. Obviously, she'll push for the rematch, but like we said, she'll do very, very, very well to get it. Man, like, and again, I think she can kind of find herself unlucky, but I think this will be a good. I think this will be again, she lost, right? Obviously, that's on paper. That's on
Natasha had a
track.
draw with Harper and she won easily.
Exactly. But I think she proved a lot of people wrong. Again, she jumped up the weights like we talked about. I didn't think she looked great the week before the fight. She blew that opinion out of the water. She was strong in there. There was certain rounds where she was pushing Tasha about the place, for periods around. So I don't know. I think it's a good look for her. If I were her now, just avoid what happened to Jack Catterall. I'm not saying that's his fault. But he had so much momentum after that first Taylor fight, and whether it's bad management, waiting for Taylor, 100 different factors, he let it go stale and he let everything go cold. Mayer should strike when the iron's hot. If I were her, honestly, I would be looking at a Bumgarner rematch. Maybe would sell pretty well. There's real needle there. There's a score to settle. I would kind of aim for the Bumgarner rematch.
Yeah. And what next for Natasha? Obviously, they're going to try and get the Taylor fight. If they can't get that, where does she go?
Another fine question. Honestly, I want to see the Taylor fight, or I want to see a rematch. Look, again, this is where the politics of the game. This is where the politics of boxing come in. Will we see it? Won't we see it? If you're asking me what I think she deserves, I think she should get the farewell tour with Katie. But if you're asking me what I want to see, what I think's justified, I would say let's go for the Mayer rematch.
You would, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it was, look, again, great. It wasn't like a bad fight. Great fight to watch. Both ladies left everything in the ring. Again, razor close. Very little to separate them. Yeah, will it be a fight? Jonas would, behind closed doors when she's speaking with management and Gallagher and stuff. Is it a fight that she would probably want? Again, I don't know. Maybe not, but I would say now we're kind of odds on to get the Taylor fight. Especially too. I mean, Katie Taylor's no spring chicken either, and I don't think she's looking any better with age. So I think they'll be pushing hard to get that squared away sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Do you think Natasha just wants one more now? Do you think we are approaching 40 in June?
I think so. I mean, she said in the ring it was her last year. I'm not. I know she's got a young family and stuff, and she's got miles on the clock. I mean, 39's old. You know what I mean? I don't care what weight class you're fighting in, or whether it's male or female boxing. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like I think that she's technically a much better fighter than Mayer. But I think the age showed in rounds 9 and 10. And I think if those rounds were look, again, if your granny had balls and all that, I think if them rounds were 3-minute rounds, we could have maybe seen a different fight. But that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah. What did you think to Jane Couch walking out with a belt? I thought that were a nice touch from Natasha and Joe G.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, it was a nice touch. I kind of said to you on the side too, I know the fella gets a lot of stick, and I'm not saying for a second that I think he's doing a good job overall, but I think it was kind of nice to see Shalom get a wee bit of rub. Again, like if I was grading the Sky project since he's taken over, I would say, I don't know. I mean, you're talking a C-, D+ at best. But I think he's done pretty well for certain fighters, and I think Jonas is probably at the front of that line. So yeah, I mean, again, for all the abuse he gets, it was nice to see him get a decent rub,
And it was nice. Did you think it were a nice touch from Natasha to have that speech at end and thank everybody for coming out, because it's not end of January and they've just had Christmas and that, haven't they? And it's tight, isn't it, Adam?
It is. Oh, look, again, I think Jonas is pure class from top to bottom. Seems, again, obviously we only know we're on a boxing level, whatever interviews, but she seems like a good person. And she seems like a loyal person, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it seems like that camp, you know what I mean? They're all in it for the same reason. And you don't see that in boxing, especially not nowadays as much. So I was happy for her. Classy performance, classy on the mic after. And she moves on to a bigger fight, you would think.
Yeah. Obviously, people said she's had a couple of defeats, hasn't she, and a draw, which were a robbery. People were saying that she were going to drop Joji in that, but she stayed loyal, hasn't she?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. I mean, there's been a million different case studies down through the years of people changing when they shouldn't. You know what I mean? I mean, I think obviously the most recent one's probably AJ and McCracken. People have different opinions on it, whatever. But there's a lot to be said for, you know, sticking to the people that were good. Look, I know certain relationships come to an end sometimes. I get that. But you know, a point you and Terry were talking about before, and it's true, and I was racking my brain. Who's left Joe G and done better? You know what I mean?
Not many have they really. They've it's all downhill, isn't it?
They're a dime a dozen, and that's what I'm getting at, mate. The grass can always seem greener. You know, you see these camps out in California and up, and you know what I mean, Big Bear, and you see this and you see that, and you see these recordings. But you know, sometimes it's better being a big fish in a small pond, and that's not me disrespecting any camp. You know what I'm getting at, though, right?
Yeah. Okay, so good luck to Natasha. Jack Cullen and Shelley. What did you make of that?
I'll be honest, mate. I text you saying I fell asleep, and I wasn't trying to be a smartass. I genuinely fell asleep in the fourth round. I had a late one the night before, and I was on the couch, and I ended up having a wee siesta. So that kind of, I don't know. I didn't think it was a great fight through four. I thought Cullen was very, very tight coming out. And again, I only saw 4 rounds. So, yeah, I thought, I don't know. I didn't think Cullen looked kind of loose coming out, and it didn't seem like there was a concrete game plan. But again, I only saw 4 rounds. I need to go back and watch it. But you know, the rest of the card, it was whatever. It wasn't the best. McKenna won easy, obviously. I think he was overmatched. But yeah, I don't know. The main event was where most of the highlights from the night came from.
Okay. I've mentioned this many times on my channel, and obviously you've seen the article that's come out in the Times. I'm coming out with things like, how did Ben Shalom get an exclusive deal at Sky after less than a handful of shows? And it's come out in the Times that allegedly his company paid an £80 bung, right, to get the concession. But then we've got Spencer Brown, who's changed his name, on it apparently, to Spencer El Shelk or whatever, because he's doing Ramadan in him and Eddie Hearn in Saudi, or they're going to do this Ramadan, whatever. But they've said it's something to do with a journalist. The journalist come out and said, you'll be paying me money now. So everybody's suing everybody. What do you make of it all? And do you think that's Eddie Hills just trying to dirty Ben's name before their trial? Because him and Hills and Shalom are going to go at it, aren't they, in court?
Yeah. There's probably an element to that, but I mean, it's very hard to know. Like, I love that line that Denzel repeats in Training Day. You know, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. And you know, we look at last week, we look at the Better Behave stuff. The Smiths can cry all they want, but they can't prove a goddamn thing. Does that mean that he's not on the juice? Of course, I don't know. He could be, but you can't prove not. You know, the one thing that you can prove with Shalom that's been obvious kind of from the word go. Again, I was happy to see him get his flowers from Jonas, but it does seem like he's out of his depth. And you know, it's a hard environment to come into at any time. But I think he came in at a time where Bricktop was purring. You know, Hills was maybe on the decline a bit with Joshua feigning, but you know, that frown's kind of turned upside down since. And you know, they're talking about 3-time champion, undisputed, all this crap. So I think it was a hard assignment, but I don't think Shalom's done great. And you know, there was nothing on paper to justify him getting that exclusive deal, was there? Up front.
No. Okay. We're in a situation, Adam, now where, according to this Turkey Al Sheikh dude, that Ngannou is going to fight Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury is going to fight Usyk, and the winners of them fights are going to fight. But what do you think could happen if we ended up with Usyk beating Fury and Ngannou beating Big Meech and Anthony Joshua? We would have a man then in his third professional fight going for the undisputed title. Is that good for boxing or is it bad?
No, that's terrible. I'm conflicted because again, I'm a big UFC man. I love Francis. I'm not just jumping on the bandwagon. I've always loved him. You know, obviously people know his backstory. You know, been through the ringer. You know, fought adversity. You know, stand-up guy. Just there's not enough nice things you can say about him. So if it's going to happen to anybody, I'm happy it's him. But I think this is all a result of this. You know, of the big fights not being made.
Yeah.
You know, too much money in the YouTube stuff. We've seen that. Now obviously the Saudi boys have come in and they've just blown everybody out of the water. I think this is again, it's a negative result that was always going to take a long time to come of the big fights not being made when they should be, and now obviously the Saudi money coming in. It shouldn't happen, but you know, you look at that Suleiman fella. And the likes, and it's just like him coming in the top 10 WBC. Like I know he had a good performance, but I don't know. I don't think it's right. I kind of think you know, they've been talking about this undisputed thing for years now since AJ's been coming up. Yeah, and then you're gonna put a one-on-one fighter in there, and you're still gonna talk about undisputed. Bit of a sellout, mate, isn't it? Really is.
Yeah, it is. How long do you think this Saudi carry on is going to last, Adam?
Maybe 2 years. Sorry, at the level that they're doing now, I think 2 years. Now I know they brought in Joe G. I know they're trying to do things for the infrastructure, and that's great. But you know, we have Fury versus Usyk that's going to happen. We have AJ versus Ngannou. We've got the winners fighting. We hopefully have Bivol better Biev. It'd be good to see Jai Opataya get back in there in a proper fight as well. But let's retire Usyk, Fury, AJ for a second, and Wilder. And let's retire Beterbiev. Let's say they have a 2-fight deal. Let's retire him at 40. You have Bivol, you have Opataya. No, for us hardcores, these boys are the creme de la creme, you know. But are you going to be able to sell these? You know, I call them freak shows, like the first one with Ngannou and Fury. Are you going to be able to sell those with the likes of, you know, Opataya and Bivol and stuff? Of course, for the hardcores you can, but I don't think that's going to hit the wider market. So I don't see this keeping momentum. And you can have all the money in the world, mate, but if you're losing 500% on every show, you're going to get fed up of doing that sooner or later, you know? Yeah,
because obviously they're used to winning, aren't they, these Saudis? This is why they can't get their heads around why the football's not doing so good, isn't it? They keep throwing more money at it. They can't work it out, can they?
No, exactly. And these things take time, you know, like... See him, I go back to the UFC. That's been, you know, like that was an underground thing for a long time, and now they're flying. But again, you have to be willing to do things for the long term. Sure, look at DAZN. DAZN came in and overpaid everybody. You know, pay-per-view's dead. We're going to change the scene. How long did that last? You know, so these things come in phases, mate. I don't see it lasting crazy long at this level.
I don't know if you've seen the article in the Daily Mirror. They're saying that Jai Opataya only got to spar 5 rounds with Tyson Fury and he dropped him and they've sent him back home and he's in Australia now, but yet he were paid to do the full camp. What do you make of that story? Do you think it's bluff trying to get in Usyk's head, or do you think it's possible it could have happened, Adam?
I mean, is it possible with how good Opataya is? Absolutely. I know he's obviously going to be a much smaller man in there, but you know, is it possible? For sure. I don't listen to a word that comes out of that camp anymore. Not one word, mate. No, I'm not even being a smartass. I avoid it like the plague because there's just no point. You know what I mean? It's smoking and smoking mirrors. You don't know what's real. And then just the big fella that does, big deadlifts with his Corey, forget him. He's,
Yeah.
he's gonzo.
Oh, pop, pop, bang. I don't know
Out,
how
Mick.
he gets by, really, because aren't MI5 watching him from the moon?
You would think so, mate. You would think so. But
All he's piped up at and said it last month, though, is that he had Christmas in a wood that were freezing, but he had a pan of rabbit stew on the hot fire. So, but I don't even believe that after speaking to somebody who knows him. So,
I'd say he's having his rabbit stew in a 5-star hotel, the same fella, mate. But this is what I'm saying. Like, I saw this as well. Like the mini documentary a couple of years ago. I think BT did it or something. And they were showing the setup and him making the tea, and you sitting out having a cup of tea by the fire and stuff. But then this is all, how much of this is blag and how much of it's real. We'll probably never know. But that's why I
that green trailer you're on about, that Russian tank thing.
I think so. I think
Well,
it was
that's
like
on his land, isn't it? That's on his land at back. But how it was filmed, it looked like he were Bear Grylls in woods or like John Rambo. You know what I mean? Up in some forest or something. Wanted chasing bears down. It's at back of his bit of land. Look, it's easy to manipulate the media and the general public, but they can't manipulate old Big P, can you? Pop, pop, bang.
Not a bit, but sure, it's the same too. Like you hear this rumor in America all the time about Conor McGregor. You hear this. Conor McGregor came from a really tough background in Ireland. You hear this all the time.
Did he?
But he didn't, mate. Like I'm talking relatively. Like he came. Look, he didn't come from the nicest part of Dublin, but he certainly didn't come from the worst. But the way they sell it over here is, this guy was on welfare and. He was getting into fights every day when he was young.
Wasn't he a plumber or something?
He was an apprentice plumber, exactly. He was doing that, but he couldn't balance the training and the work, so he packed it in, and he was on the dole fighting. But they take this in America and they spin it into this whole this guy came from the streets and stuff, and it's like the lad came from Crumlin. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not the Ritz, but it's not it's not Baghdad either. So you see this bluffing everywhere, man.
Yeah. Okay. Can you tell me your top 5 pound for pound at the moment, because it changes by every couple of weeks, and obviously we've had some interesting fights lately. I just wanted to get your take on your top 5. That's all, just so I can compare it to mine.
No, for sure. TC at number 1, Bud Crawford.
Yeah.
Inoue at 2. It's a flip between Better Biev and Usyk for 3 and 4, but just because it's fresh in the mind, let's go with Better Biev at 3. Let's go Usyk. Yeah, and again, look, if he beats Fury, that flips again, So we'll wait until February to give the final verdict, and then number 5. Maybe we'll go for Devin Haney. Maybe.
Yeah. Top 4's more or less locked in it, really, now.
Yeah, unless one of them falls off a cliff, or gets done for doping or something. But yeah, something like that. I mean, we were talking about favorite fighters last time out. I was on about Lomachenko, but kind of it's hard now, especially with all the belts having one favorite fighter. I try and break it down into like 5 regions. Like out of the US, Bud Crawford's my favorite by a mile. He's good to watch. He's good on the mic. And he's just mean too, like when he's in the trenches. Like a lot of the time he doesn't have to get mean, but like you saw the way he took Spence apart at the end, like he was vicious. It seemed like he enjoyed it. So Bud's the man, no doubt about it.
Okay. Bean, Adam Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like, I don't know if I feel for him or what lately, because when he were riding high at Sky, he was a bit pompous and he didn't really want to help anybody out. I remember Dennis trying to get into him for a couple of slots, and he kind of like owed Dennis a favour. I'm not going to go into that on here, but all just lip service on the phone and all that. And Dennis would say to me, "Don't you worry, Adam Smith, I'm going to call that in with Adam Smith," and it never seemed to come. and it were all just lip service, and you bump into them. And what boxing people do, you bump into them. I've got a friend now who should be having one of his fighters on Sky, and they've done nothing but mess him about. I'm not going to say his name on here either, but what I want to make is it's called lip service in the industry. Yeah, you bump into them at a show, they say, yeah, call me in the week and all that. What basically it means is piss off.
Yep.
Now, I've now heard a rumour that Adam Smith were hanging around like a bad smell at this presser and trying to get to speak to certain people in industry, and they didn't have 2 minutes for him. So I don't know if he's like a sad case now, or if it's a case of, well, you didn't really scratch our back when we needed it. What do you think of it all? And do you think he'll be given a role again as a commentator?
I think he'll get a job. I'm not sure where or when, but I think he will. I mean, I'm kind of with you. There was that kind of sense of him in interviews and stuff, but he was also pretty good behind the mic, in certain instances. You got to give him that, But again, mate, it's like anything else. You get out what you put in. Unless you're very, very unfortunate, if you're good to people on the way up, if you do have a fall from grace, these same people will catch you. If they're not snakes, you know what I mean? Like if they're somewhat decent people. So given the fact that nobody's kind of extending a branch, it would make you think that maybe he didn't have as many friends within the industry when he kind of dropped off.
Yeah,
exactly, man. Exactly. But
you were there 28 years, and a friend of mine said to me, I've got a feel for Bean Porky. I goes, why? Why? Well, Bean, he did 28 years at Sky, blah, 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 and now look, nobody's got time of day for him. But I bet when he was at Sky, I bet everybody were hanging out the back of him. Well, they were, weren't they? Because he was the top dog, wasn't he?
Yep.
But,
it's sorry, go ahead, man.
Joe G get a bit of a stick out to Dave Caldwell on TalkSport today, saying, well, why don't they get some people commentating who know what they're doing, like Matthew Macklin and Carl Froch. And I see Dave Caldwell snirkled his way back in at Sky Sports, but it's not so long ago that Johnny Nelson's lawyer collared me, and I've seen him at races. He's actually a nice guy. Mick Lawless is called, and he was saying that Johnny categorically denies that he's a friend of Dave Caldwell's. And could I tell my friend Nicky Smedley to stop putting pictures on his Facebook? And Johnny with his arm around Dave Caldwell, pictures Nicky had got off social media. But it looks like Dave's got his feet under the table 2 years later at Sky. Do you think he'll last as a pundit there, or do you think if he does, he's going to have to start speaking as he sees it and not trying to do people favours?
I think he talks a lot, but he doesn't really say much, mate, and you can only get away with that for so long behind the mic. It doesn't matter how likable you are, or, if you crack a good wee joke here and there. But I think I love that, though. I caught that this morning. Joe G, fair play to him. He takes no prisoners. He hung him out right off the bat.
He meets it head on, Joe G, doesn't he? He's not frightened. I mean, I don't know if you saw that one last night where Big Malk, a.k.a. Spencer Fearon, he ambushed Joe G live on Stamina for Sale YouTube, and Joe were actually asleep at home when he got the late phone call. Late at night it was, and didn't even know it was being recorded until a couple of minutes in, and then his brain clicked into gear, and obviously he went into full Joe G mode, and I'm told that's it's not gone down well, let's just say. What do you think to that? I was shocked.
Mad enough, either very, very, very brave or very stupid, or maybe a bit of both. But no, I like G. I just think, like you said, when Hills went on with Jordan, and again, I think Jordan dropped the ball on both calls or both interviews. But you see Hills the whole time. It's bait and switch. He's not answering the question. He's bringing up a new question or a new topic, and it's we'll move here, we'll move there, and he ties these boys up in ribbons. Whereas Joe G just answers questions how he gets them, and you don't see that too much in boxing, so you have to respect it. Fair one, don't know, mate. He's trying to pop his head. He's like, "Where's Wally?" He's trying to pop his head into every camera. But I don't know. Same thing. A lot of talking, not much to say. The same fella.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I thought Bean and Johnny Nelson were a better duo than what they put on at weekend at Sky.
Much
Back
better.
in the day, back in the day, like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know Nelson was kind of, hooked up to the Hills generator back in the day, and he said certain things. But since he's
Yeah.
kind of since he's flowing the nest, he's excellent.
Listen, since Johnny Nelson's got rid of Eddie Hills and Bean's gone, it's like he's a different person. I'm Team Johnny now. I can buy into him, whereas before I couldn't, because we're talking about a world champion here that's gone through all levels and had a long run as a world champion, longest ever at cruiserweight. And then he was coming out with stuff like Tackums, like Holyfield and George Foreman rolled into one and all that nonsense. And
I know, mate. But that's what I'm saying. When you're hooked up to the drip, it seems like you have to sell, if not all your soul, you have to sell a certain amount of it. Sure, look at Big Tony at the minute. But no, like you said, Johnny's the man now. Rarely gives a poor interview, and rarely doesn't say what he wants to say. He's brilliant, man.
It's just a shame that Sky don't want to have the Cobra on because he won't stick to the script. But the Cobra's like Roy Keane, isn't he?
You know what, mate? The more you say it, he's literally the Roy Keane of boxing punditry, isn't he?
Oh, Caprot, without a shadow of doubt, he always goes against the grain on anything. And you know what? The funny thing is, right? He's doing really well with his YouTube channel, but whatever that kid's done, and there's some stuff I'm not going to say in here, but whatever he's done in his life, he's been a winner at everything. He always finds a way, Carl. So I'm behind him, and you can't knock his career, can we?
Not one bit. And mate, look, I know we're close to the end, but just to close, we talked earlier about be good to the people around you on the way up. You look at him and Rob McCracken. Pay them the same amount. Pay them the same amount from day one to the
10% all the way through.
Exactly. There's no renegotiations. There's no I'm earning more money now and Show them respect. Stand up guy. Stood to his word. Again, you don't see that in boxing much, mate. So Froch can almost do no wrong in my book. Top man, top pundit.
He was best man at McCracken's wedding as well.
Was he? I didn't know that at all.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
Well, see, there you go. You get out what you put on, mate. You get out what you put on.
Listen, Adam, you've been a real tonic. You're a great addition to the commission. Thank you very much for coming on. You speak very clearly and very honestly, and I want to thank you. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, mate. Anytime. Just to clear one thing up. I said last time I was on about Galway. I went to university in Galway. But I'm from County Donegal, so it's up the northwest of Ireland. So a few of the lads in the comments, they were spot on. I'm an Ulsterman behind it all. So nice one, bud.
Thank you very much. You take care. God bless.
Top man. Cheers, Porky. Talk to you next week. Bye.
Well, that were Adam, and you heard where he's from, but he's living in San Francisco. So thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. Big Joe Egan, don't forget, porkycorner@mail.com. I'm still waiting for your Zoom. What are you afraid of? I hope you haven't got a note to hide, Joe, because I'm ready for this interview. They're running, the man's scared. Go on, peace out. Thanks for liking and subscribing, leaving a comment. Booyaka!
Well, these are the really big men of amateur boxing, the super heavyweights, the class is called, and it's over 14 stone 4. And just look at the comparison between these two. Bobby Wells for England stands 6 feet 5 inches, and he's towering over this somewhat roly-poly figure, jolly figure of Joe Egan from Donore in Dublin. And the whole match depends on this super heavyweight contest. England leading 5-4, but of course, if Egan can win this, then Ireland will snatch the draw. This particular match, England-Ireland, has had a history of very close contests over the years, and tonight has proved no different. So, the big lads go at it, and the Irishman, Joe Egan, moving in to have a go at Bobby Wells. Wells from Kingston. And he's hurt. No, he's not. Well, he was hurt, but the referees decided it was inside of the glove. Bobby Wells of Kingston, 6 feet 5 of him. And I'm afraid I can remember seeing his father box as well. His father, in fact, Billy Wells, is here in the audience tonight. Well, young master Egan, who's 18, has come to have a go. Wells is 23. He's an engineering student, young Egan. What a little battler he is. Wells swinging him in from all angles to try and stop him coming at him. Good stuff. Well, they never go 3 rounds like this. Egan's put a tremendous amount into the first couple of minutes. Wells coming in with a little right around the corner. Now you pays your money and takes your choice as to what will happen here. Got a wicked little right hand, as Egan. It sneaks up on you. And the crowd absolutely love this. And they've taken this young man to their heart as well. Joe Egan from the Denore Club in round 2. Bobby Wells from Kingston, Joe Egan from Dublin. Tall figure of Wells so far has not had too much success. Finding it hard with such a short man against him to punch down at him. Wells also making his international debut for his country tonight, like Egan. And Wells certainly hasn't solved the problem of getting to this young Irish student. Amazing that Egan can get this close to this very tall man with all this reach. And Wells, by not using straight punches, simply can't keep the man away from him. The roly-poly Irishman swarming all over Wells. Well, this is cobblestone stuff now. Egan has punched himself out, and the Irish boy has to take a standing count. That's out of exhaustion. What a finish to a match. Slowing up all the time. He needs that bell to come. weighs a glove, Egan. Extraordinary stuff. Not punching correctly. Well, the referee's right, but the crowd don't like it. If ever a man needed a minute's rest, Egan most certainly. Setting up this extraordinary attack, and the young Irish student just keeping his head down and weathering the storm. Real old-fashioned stuff this is. The ideal conclusion in many ways to a marvellous match between two old foes, England and Ireland. They've had many a marvellous battle in the amateur boxing ring. Egan almost snarling in his anxiety to get close and being picked off unmercifully. Standing count, second time. Well, it'll be a great pity if Egan can't get through 3 rounds here. It'll be a great shame because it's been such a marvellous finish to an evening, and the whole crowd here will be hoping that Egan can make it to the bell. Nothing but guts now to be offered by Egan. He's got plenty of those. Barely stand up. And Wells isn't exactly fresh. Under a minute left. Oh, he's got it. He caught the right hand sweeping up, and Egan couldn't step out of the way of it. And the referee has counted Egan out on his feet in the final round. He couldn't make it to the end. What a shame that is for him. But that's a good win for Bobby Wells for England. He had a few nasty moments early on, but the superior height and reach and boxing ability in the end told.
Right, there you go. There's 2 videos there. There's one of Joe Egan sparring when he was 17 years old, and one of Mike Tyson sparring when he was 17 years old. Now, Mike Tyson at the time were knocking out professional fighters who had 25 fights, right? So, let me know what you think about them 2 videos. Alright. Toughest white man to ever spar Mike Tyson. Yeah. Alright, pop, pop, bang. Big Joe Egan, I'm still waiting for you to come on Zoom. I've got 9 questions I want to ask you. Why are you swerving me? Why are you swerving me? Normally we can't shut you up on social media, can we? Hey? So, 2 minutes. Okay? Pop, pop, bang.